Hello, third grade, and welcome to Unit 5, Week 5. Let's get started with our vocabulary words for this week. Your first word is the word natural. A natural place is created by nature and not by humans, so it's something that was already there on the earth. It's not something that people put together or built. Our next word is the word pollution. Pollution is when you contaminate or dirty the air or the water or another part of the environment by adding things that are harmful to it, like trash or oil spills or any kind of chemicals. All of those things cause pollution because they make the air or the water or the earth unclean or unsafe. Next, we have the word produce. To produce is to make or create something. So we can have solar panels that produce electricity. We have people that can produce certain kinds of goods. They can make things, right? Next, we have the word renewable. Renewable is something that can be grown, reused, or restored. So take a look at this word in its parts. Remember, the prefix re means again. So to make something new again is what renewable means. So wind power is a renewable resource. You can use it again and again. Solar power, from the sun, is another renewable resource. Next, we have the word replace. Replace means to make something, is to take something in the place of another thing. So you can replace the energy that we used from fossil fuels before, because remember, fossil fuels are a limited resource. There's not much of it in the world. There's not much of it left on the earth. So you want to replace it, or you want to use something else instead of it that is renewable, like wind power or solar power. Number 6, our word is source. So the place that something comes from is the source. So the source of sunlight and warmth is the sun. The source of, the food that you buy at the supermarket may be the farm that it was grown at. Number 7 is the word energy. Energy is just the ability to do work. And number 8 is the word traditional. Something that is traditional is, it's expected, it's common, it's not something that's new, it's something that people are used to using. So traditional energy sources are like oil or gas or coal that people used to burn for energy or use for energy in the past. Our spelling words this week are going to focus on open syllable words. Now remember, an open syllable word is a word that ends with a vowel. And we're specifically going to be looking at open syllable words that follow the CVC pattern. So the second syllable is going to be a consonant, vowel, consonant. So usually our first syllable is going to be open, and it's going to be followed by a consonant, vowel, consonant syllable. So pilot, diner, tiger, favor, lemon, planet, cover, shady, robot, tiny, label, cozy, silent, spider, frozen, tried, hurried, studying, melon, stomach. So I'm going to separate some of these out just for now to show you those syllables. So we have our first open syllable, PI, for pilot. LOT follows that CVC rule, consonant, vowel, consonant. Same thing for diner and tiger and favor. You're seeing where those syllables separate, and these apply to most of the rest of the words in our list. But this way, when you see them separated, you can see that we have an open syllable and we have a CVC syllable that follows it. So open syllable, then closed syllable. I'm going to take these off so that you can look at them as whole words when you go to do your 3 times each. Now, for our ELA notes and our grammar notes, so this is everything for language arts and grammar, we're going to talk about more contractions. So we've talked about contractions in the past. A contraction is when we take 2 words, we put them together into one smaller word, and the letters that we take out, we replace it with an apostrophe. And remember, an apostrophe looks like a little comma, but it's on top. So when we're combining words with the word am, so I am, we replace the A in am with the apostrophe M. So if you look at each one of these, I have the space for the word, what you're adding to it, and the rule that you're going to follow. At the end, you can see in bold what I'm going to be adding on to the end of my first word to show that it's a contraction. So contractions with the word is. We drop the I and we replace it with an apostrophe. So instead of IS, it becomes apostrophe S. So he is becomes he's, she is becomes she's, it is becomes it's with the apostrophe and then the S. Now, when we're looking at the word are, so when we're combining a word with the word are to form a contraction, we're going to drop the A in the word are, and we're going to replace it with an apostrophe. So instead of spelling it A-R-E, we're going to tag it on to the end of our first word as apostrophe R-E. So you are becomes your, we are becomes we're, they are becomes their. We also have the word have. So when we're adding have to a word, we're going to drop the HA and replace it with an apostrophe and keep the VE. So we're going to be adding it onto the end of a word as apostrophe VE. So I have becomes I've, you have becomes you've, they have becomes they've. And the last one we're going to look at is contractions with the word will. So when we're adding will, we're going to drop the WI and replace it with an apostrophe and keep the LL. So he will becomes he'll, she will becomes she'll, I will becomes I'll, you will becomes you'll, they will becomes they'll, and it will becomes it'll. Now there's a few things I want you to remember. Possessive pronouns show ownership and they take the place of a noun. Contractions are two words that we combine together to make one shorter word, which is what the examples we just talked about above. Now, some possessive pronouns and contractions are homophones. So what does that mean? Remember, a homophone means they are words that sound the same, but they are spelled differently. So the three that I want you to focus on are the words it's, your, and their. Now, contractions, remember, use an apostrophe. This is very important right here. Contractions use an apostrophe to take the place of missing letters. Pronouns do not have an apostrophe. Specifically, so possessive pronouns do not have an apostrophe. So the contraction it plus is IT apostrophe S. So it is cold outside, it's cold outside. But the possessive pronoun it's ITS means something that belongs to it. So this is its food bowl, or this is its toy. Your YOU apostrophe RE is a contraction of you are, like you are my best friend. You are my best friend. The possessive pronoun your, YOUR, means something that belongs to you. This is your bag. This is your pencil. And then there and there. THEY apostrophe RE is a contraction of they are. So they are going with us to the park. They are going with us to the park. THEIR means it belongs to them. This is their house. I got to ride in their car. So remember, possessive pronouns, these ones in the green, show ownership and they have no apostrophe. That's your biggest clue. Contractions are two words put together to make one shorter word, and they always have an apostrophe. So those are important rules to help you remember the difference between them. I've got them highlighted for you to make it easier. Now, prefixes and suffixes. So we're going to focus on a couple of prefixes and suffixes this week. And remember, a prefix or a suffix, both of those come from the word affix, which means to stick to something. A prefix is stuck onto the beginning of a word, and a suffix is stuck onto the end of a word. And what they do is they modify or they change the meaning of that base word that they're stuck onto. Now, the prefix un means not, like unhappy or unclean, or someone is unwilling to help. Re means again, so rewrite, remake, or review. And suffixes, we said, come and are stuck onto the end of a word. So the suffix able means capable of doing or able to do something, like usable or edible. Something that is usable is something that can be used. Edible, even though it has an IBLE, it still has that same meaning. It means something that can be eaten. The suffix ly means the way that you're doing something. So if you're doing it carefully or quietly or happily. And then the suffix full means full of something. So someone who is beautiful, or someone who is very careful, or a place that feels very peaceful. And the last bit that we're going to cover today are some more homophones. Now, we've already started talking about these in the past. I am pulling some of the specific homophones from your work as well as a few extras. So remember, a homophone is made up of two root words, homo, which means the same, and phone, which means sound. So a homophone are words that have the same sound, but different everything else. So different spelling, different meaning. So we have the words seen and seen. S-E-E-N is the past tense of see, so meaning to look. Have you seen my book anywhere? S-C-E-N-E, scenes are parts of a movie or a play in a particular setting. So you can say, we watched the battle scene, the Battle of Hogwarts scene yesterday, and it was so exciting. So it's a particular part of a movie or a play is spelled S-C-E-N-E. Next, we have pedal and pedal. Pedal, P-E-D-A-L, means something you're doing with your feet. So you have to pedal very fast to make your bike move faster. Or petals, P-E-T-A-L, or P-E-T-A-L-S in this case, are the colorful parts of the flower. So those colorful parts that are at the top of the flower, the part that you see that's very beautiful, those colorful parts are called petals. So the petals were red and orange. Next, we have the word in and in. So I-N compared to I-N-N. I-N means something that's surrounded by something else. So we put the chocolate chips in the cookie batter. So we know those chocolate chips are surrounded by the cookie batter. Or we have I-N-N, which is another word for like a hotel or a place where a traveler can stay. We rented a room at the inn and had a beautiful view of the ocean. Next, we have the words rain and rain. R-A-I-N is a form of precipitation that falls from the sky. So think of rain or snow or hail. Anything that falls from the sky is a kind of precipitation. So rain specifically, R-A-I-N, is one of the kinds of precipitation. So it's water that falls from the sky and the clouds. So the rain will wash away our chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Now, R-E-I-G-N means the time that a ruler is in power. So this kind of reign is talking about the amount of time that someone who rules over an area is in charge of it. So King Cookie Monster will reign over Sesame Street for many years. He's not reigning like falling from the sky. He is the king or the ruler, for example. Next, we have the words won and won. W-O-N is the past tense of win, or to gain some kind of victory. We won the race, or we won the recycling contest at school. O-N-E means the number one. So I ate one cookie after dinner. And the last example I have for you is the words through and through. T-H-R-E-W is the past tense of throw, which means to toss something. So he threw the ball to his friend as they played catch. T-H-R-O-U-G-H means to pass inside something or to go from one side of something to the other side. And you can use that in a sentence by saying, we drove through the long tunnel. So we're not necessarily, we're not pronouncing it differently, even though the spelling is different, but the meaning is very different. And you can identify or figure out the meaning by looking at the words around it. By using those context clues, you can understand which one of the words we're talking about if someone is saying them out loud to you. All right, next let's hop into our literature anthology book, and we are going to read an expository text out of Time magazine for kids called It's All in the Wind.
Genre: Expository text. Time for kids. It's all in the wind. This wind farm in Texas provides electricity to many communities. Essential question: what are different kinds of energy? Read about how people are using the wind as a source of energy. Why are people using wind power? People have been using wind as an energy source since ancient times. Sailors were the first to use wind power. Strong winds cause ships with sails to glide quickly across the water. Then people decided to use the wind to do other hard jobs, such as grinding grain or pumping water. As a result, they invented windmills. Windmills are machines that capture the wind's power. Wind is energy. Wind has power because it is air that moves. When warm air rises, cooler air moves in to take its place. These actions cause wind to form. As the wind rises above Earth, it blows faster. The faster the wind blows, the more energy it creates. This is the energy that powers windmills. When a strong wind blows on the blades of a windmill, it causes them to spin around. The blades are connected to a long rod. When the blades spin, they turn the rod. The turning rod produces energy that can be used to do work. People in the ancient world used boats with sails that captured the wind's power. A new energy source. Now people are looking for new sources of energy, such as the wind. They have good reason. Most of the energy we use today comes from coal, natural gas, and oil. These natural resources are running out. They cannot be replaced. Wind, however, is a renewable resource. There will always be a supply. And wind is free and clean, so it does not produce harmful pollution. Turbine power. Today, wind turbines are the most common way to turn wind into energy. They look like giant windmills. They are lined up in rows on wind farms. Some turbines are as tall as skyscrapers. The turbines catch the strongest winds high above the ground. The wind causes the blades on the turbine to turn. As the blades spin, they produce energy. Inside the turbine, machinery turns the energy from the spinning blades into electricity. Then the electricity flows through wires from the turbine to homes and towns. How a wind machine works. 1. Blades catch the wind and spin. 2. Generator converts the energy of spinning blades into electricity. 3. Cable carries electricity to transmission line. This diagram shows how a wind machine turns wind power into electricity. Windmills were early and less powerful versions of today's wind turbines. Wind gets stronger. Wind machines are the fastest growing energy source in the United States. In 2000, 17 states used wind power to create electricity. 10 years later, the number of states using wind grew to 36. One state that uses wind power is Missouri. Rockport, Missouri became the first American city to be powered completely by energy from the wind. The city's 4 wind machines supply enough electricity for the 1,300 residents of Rockport. Rockport is not the only place that is saving money on electricity. Schools from Nebraska to Vermont use wind machines to save money and to create cleaner energy. Every year, more companies are placing wind machines near communities. Recently, 3,000 wind machines were put in place in 1 year. These new machines are 5 times larger than the ones made 30 years ago, and they produce 15 times more energy. That's good news for the planet. Clean energy with wind power is here to stay. Rockport, Missouri gets its electricity from 4 wind machines like this one. Genre: Expository text. Time for kids. Compare texts. Read to find out how people around the world are getting energy from the sun. Power for all. Every day, students in many countries are in a race against the sun. Many don't have electricity. For this reason, they must do their homework during the daylight hours or use dangerous oil lamps or candlelight at night. In Chumqui, a small town in Namibia, Africa, villagers were lucky. Until recently, they got all their electricity from a generator powered by oil. However, there were problems with the generator. It cost a lot of money, and it only produced electricity for 3 hours each day. Namibia, Africa. Namibia is a country on the southwest coast of Africa. These solar panels provide enough power to run the town of Chumkwi. Alternative power comes to the rescue. Then life in Chumkwi changed. A company from Germany built a solar power system in the village. The new system supplies electricity to 100 homes. As a result, now the villagers can have electricity 24 hours a day. The people in Chumkwi are not the only ones struggling to get electricity. Almost 2 billion people around the world still do not have electric power. That means hospitals have a hard time taking care of sick people. Most people in these countries must depend on energy from costly oil to light their way. However, life is getting better in countries without good power sources. Energy companies are starting to provide wind and solar power to these communities. Wind and solar power can be cheaper than traditional fuel sources, such as coal and oil. They are cleaner, and they are safer to use. These alternative energy sources are a very small part of the power that is used in the world, but more people are using these sources every year. Top 5 energy savers. Here are 5 easy ways that you can save energy every day. Try them all. 1. Turn off lights. 2. Use energy-saving light bulbs. 3. Shut off computers, TV sets, and video games. 4. Use sunlight instead of electric lights when you can. 5. Open a window if you need to cool off.
Okay, that takes us to the end of our story in our literature anthology. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our reading and writing workshop. And here we're also going to be reading another expository text, an article from Time for Kids called Here Comes Solar Power.
Essential question: what are different kinds of energy? Read why solar energy is a good source of power. Here comes solar power. What do you have in common with a car and a factory? You both need energy to run. Energy keeps things moving. Energy today. You get your energy from eating healthful foods. Most factories, homes, and cars get their energy from fossil fuels. Coal, petroleum, and natural gas are fossil fuels. They have been the traditional or usual energy sources for more than a century. Today, most of the energy we use in the United States comes from burning fossil fuels. But these fuels come from deep under the Earth's surface, and they are running out. They cannot be reused. Once a fossil fuel is gone, it's gone forever. So we need alternative energy sources to replace them. Scientists know that there is no other way to keep our country going and growing. So they are looking for new alternative sources of energy that won't run out. Cheaper and cleaner. Solar power is one source of renewable energy, and it is not expensive. As a result, many people are placing solar panels on the roofs of homes and large buildings. Solar panels look like giant mirrors, and they capture energy from the sun. On a bright day, the sun's rays hit the solar panel and cause it to produce electricity. Then the electricity flows into the building. As a result, there is enough energy to raise the temperature inside homes and turn on lights, stoves, and computers. The future. More companies are turning to solar power to replace fossil fuels. It's natural. That means it isn't made or changed by people. Solar power is cheaper than fossil fuels, and it does not create pollution. Today, there are millions of people around the world using solar power to produce electricity for their homes and businesses. Someday, solar power may completely replace fossil fuels. Solar panels are placed on the roofs of buildings. Go sunshine. Renewable energy is where it's at, and solar power is at the top of our list. Here are the top reasons why solar energy is so hot. Solar power is cheaper than fossil fuels. It is renewable. It doesn't cause pollution and is good for our environment. Power from the sun is always available. Solar power is natural. Solar energy can do just about everything that fossil fuels do. Everyone should use solar power. It's good news for the planet. Thanks to solar power, Paul can power up and listen to his MP3 player.
All right, that takes us to the end of our stories for this week. Next, we're going to talk about our comprehension strategy and skill. And again, our comprehension strategy for this week is to ask and answer questions. Now, this is a great tool to use when you come across information that you don't fully understand or something you're not sure about. It gives you the opportunity to go back and ask questions and find the answers in the text. We're also going to talk again about cause and effect for our comprehension skill. Now, remember, cause and effect is something that happens that makes something else happen. So if you're walking and someone sticks their foot out, you may trip over their foot. So the cause is someone sticking their foot out. The effect is you trip over it.
Ask and answer questions. Ask yourself questions as you read Here Comes Solar Power. Then look for details to support your answers. Find text evidence. Look at the section Energy Today on page 391. Think of a question, then read to answer it. Energy Today. You get your energy from eating healthful foods. Most factories, homes, and cars get their energy from fossil fuels. Coal, petroleum, and natural gas are fossil fuels. They have been the traditional or usual energy sources for more than a century. Today, most of the energy we use in the United States comes from burning fossil fuels. I have a question. What are fossil fuels? I read that most factories, homes, and cars run on fossil fuels. They come from deep under the Earth's surface and are running out. Now I can answer my question. Fossil fuels come from the Earth and will not always be there. Cause and effect. A cause is why something happens. An effect is what happens. They happen in time order. Signal words such as so, as a result, and because help you find causes and effects. Find text evidence. On page 391, I read that scientists are looking for alternative sources of energy. This is the effect. Now I can find the cause. Fossil fuels are running out and we need new energy sources. Graphic organizer. Cause, effect. Cause. First, fossil fuels are running out and we need new energy sources. Effect. Scientists are looking for alternative sources of energy. Cause. Next, solar power is renewable and is not expensive. Cause. Then, the sun's rays hit the solar panel. Expository text. Here Comes Solar Power is an expository text. Expository text often includes facts and information about a science topic. includes text features such as photographs, captions, headings, and a sidebar. Find text evidence. I can tell that "Here Comes Solar Power" is an expository text. It has science, facts, and information. It has a sidebar that presents how the author feels about solar energy. Text features. Photographs and captions. Photographs and captions give extra information about a topic. Sidebar. A sidebar may present the author's opinion about a topic. Homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings and different spellings. The words see and see are homophones. Use context clues to figure out a homophone's meaning. Find text evidence. I see the word need on page 391. Need and need are homophones. Need means to require something. Need means to mix with your hands. The words sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. I can use context clues to figure out what need means. Here it means to require. You both need energy to run.
All right, that takes us to the end of our notes and our readings for this week. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.